Hello and welcome to BW Techtalks. Today we have with us Mr. Damyant Singh, PMO of Oppo India. Mr. Singh, thank you for sparing your precious time for BW Businessworld. It's a pleasure interacting with you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, sir. So, first of all, how has the journey been for Oppo India so far? The kind of numbers you have garnered, and are you happy with the way things have turned out, or you think there is scope for more improvement?
Well, absolutely. We're extremely pleased with the journey we as a brand have had over the last 6 years in India. Oppo as a brand is in relative terms very young in India and globally. And if you look at our journey in India over the last 6 years, we have a lot of reasons to be very happy. I think if you look at how our sales have grown in terms of how the brand is recognized and loved across the country, we've done a tremendous job. And while I've only been here 5 months, I think teams and people prior to me have done a tremendous job in not just building brand affinity for Oppo, but also in really kind of pushing Oppo to being one of the most recognized and loved brands in the country. So there's a lot that we're very happy about Oppo's journey in India. Well, I can give you some specific numbers around how we're performing. So most recently, I think if you look at the Canalys report from February 2021, Oppo India is amongst the top 4 smartphone players in India, right? And our annual growth is well over 23%. We have an extremely strong brand preference score as well, which grew 33% last year. But we're not really kind of privy to sharing information. Really, I think you'll have to look at competitive reports on this. But I think what we can say is over the last 4 or 5 years now, we've been amongst the top 3 or 4 players in the Indian smartphone market.
And would you like to share your current and projected market share in the Indian smartphone market?
Well, I think I can talk to some of the things that have happened in the last few months, right? If you look at some of the launches that we've had, we launched the Reno 5 in January this year. It's done extremely well. It actually broke all records. We grew 91% in the launch week. We launched the F19 Pro a couple of weeks back, and that's against smashed records. We actually did business of about 230 crores in the first 3 days of launch. So I think if you look at how we're performing, we're growing tremendously. We've had a year-on-year growth of about 80% in the 30,000 plus product category. So there are lots of wins that we've had in segments that are a priority for us. From a pure market share perspective, I guess we can only focus on what we do and do it really well instead of worrying about where the market shares are going. So our focus is really on our business. Our focus is on making sure that we bring leading products to our consumers and really drive the innovation story from a brand standpoint. So that's what we focus on. And I think if we do these things right, market share is going to come. We're not driven by market share. It's not that what drives us. What drives us is, are we being able to really kind of push the boundaries of technology and the boundaries of great experiences for our consumers?
The government talks about Atmanirbhar Bharat program, which is essentially a Make in India 2.0. Yes. So how are you leveraging on those initiatives by the government? And as a byproduct, will you be also shipping out your products from India to other countries? If yes, if you can talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So Oppo India is absolutely committed to Atmanirbhar Bharat, right? Our commitment is not just me speaking to you and kind of saying it's important. We've actually put money behind this vision that our Prime Minister has. We've made an ongoing investment of over 2,200 crores in our Greater Noida manufacturing facility, and the factory produces more than 6 million units every month during peak season. And this basically translates into a smartphone being produced every 3 seconds. Right, so this is really a testimony to our commitment to India. And beyond just manufacturing, I think the other important aspect of Atmanirbhar Bharat and Made in India or Make in India is around developing the ecosystem that really kind of allows manufacture of smartphones. And we've done a couple of investments in that area as well. We have a R&D center in Hyderabad, which participates heavily in the development of camera functions, not just for Oppo India, but for Oppo globally. We're leveraging the human power of or the manpower of our colleagues in the R&D facility in Hyderabad, and we're working on kind of really fine-tuning the global imaging research and development of Oppo products. Beyond that, the Oppo R&D facility is also instrumental in working with our 5G team. So we set up the first 5G lab in India. And what this 5G lab will really allow us to do is validate all of our upcoming devices as per the local operator needs in India. And I think we're the first smartphone manufacturer that's kind of invested in a facility of this nature. And we believe these are the kind of investments that will allow us not just to succeed in India, but also allow access to path-breaking technology for consumers in India. So that's really how we see the Make in India initiative from an Oppo standpoint.
What are the key product lines that you intend to launch over this year? And will they be game changers for you? If you can talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So if I give you a sense on how we're structured, we as things stand in India right now, we're basically launching products in two categories. There's smartphones and then there's the IoT devices. Last year we've had more than 20 product launches across the year. So 2020 had 20 product launches that were made by Oppo. And basically our product categories in the smartphone business are around families that internally we call the Fine series. There's the Reno series, there's the F series, and then there's the A series, right? These products basically kind of target specific consumer segments within the Indian market. And if I talk to you about the cadence of launches that we kind of undergo, the Find is essentially an annual launch cycle. The Reno is a product that's launched or updated almost every 6 months. And we've had a launch of the F17 in October last year, and we just launched a new device. So I think the cadence of launches is really dependent on how we kind of see the opportunities grow. We also from time to time do limited edition products. We did one last year for the Reno series during Diwali. So the cadence of launches is really something which is driven by our sense on what the market really kind of requires. And of course, also making sure that each product is a significant jump in terms of innovation stories from the previous generation. There's no point in just doing color updates and kind of putting those into the market. All of our product launches are genuine product upgrades from a launch cycle perspective.
Okay, so any of the products which you think would be game changers for you?
Well, I think,
or the one which has been already launched.
Yeah, so if I talk purely in terms of technology, we launched the Find X3 globally last week, and that product actually yesterday won a Red Dot Award for Innovation and Design, which is, it's the pinnacle award for tech companies, for actually any design company. So the Find X3 packs a punch when it comes to the sheer design of the product, but also in terms of its performance. From an India perspective, over the last year now, we've launched the Reno 5 recently, which again is a very capable camera phone. It's of course a great all-round product, but it's a great camera phone. We have a proprietary VOOC technology, which is around fast charging, which is around allowing people really to kind of on the go be able to use their devices through the day. The other product category, which is the F series, again is meant for consumers who kind of moving up the value chain from a smartphone perspective. It's typically in our head someone who's I guess the F series is typically people's second phone, right? From a consumer standpoint. And what we've bought into that product category is really 5G. Smart 5G, as we call it in Oppo. And essentially what we're doing with each of these products is we're democratizing product technologies that otherwise are really restricted to flagship products, right? So I think if I look at our product portfolio and look at that red line that really connects all of these products, it's really this desire in Oppo to really push the boundaries of what consumers can experience in the devices that they buy.
Thanks to COVID, there has been an unprecedented digital push by various companies. Even automobile companies resorted to the digital medium. So is that the way forward when it comes to sales, or you think brick and mortar stores would go to continue? Your thoughts? Or will it be digital as the auto industry terms it?
Yeah, well, I think I agree with the term that you use from the auto industry. I don't think at any point consumers are going to move to one platform completely. There's a joy to really shopping, going out with the family, buying products, and I think that social occasion of buying products, especially expensive products, is something which is a social occasion almost, right? So I think there's a certain need, desire, and love for physical retail, which consumers in India are continue going to have, right? From a smartphone category perspective, I think it would also be silly to deny the importance of e-commerce as a commercial platform, right? It's growing tremendously with good reason, and it's close to, like, I guess about 45-46% of the overall sales are happening on those platforms. So I don't think it's a choice of saying, oh, I'm going to only focus on the offline trade and I'm not going to kind of do e-commerce. I don't think that choice exists any longer. Both these platforms are equally important. Both these platforms also kind of encourage a certain kind of behavior from consumers. Both these platforms also have a certain kind of a product portfolio that brands are launching. But to be honest, I don't think what we're experiencing right now in terms of people not necessarily shopping at scale in physical retail is really the long-term behavior. I do believe in the efficacy and the strength of physical retail. I believe there's a very strong reason why consumers go and shop in these mom and pop stores or in the mono-branded stores. There's this connection, an emotional connection that all of us as Indians, really, really crave, and that's something that's going to continue kind of being a strong driver of how our channel strategy kind of works.
Are you referring to tier 2 and tier 3 cities or across
India? Like I said, Abhishek, the reality of how consumers go and buy smartphones, we need to understand the psyche that's at work, right? And maybe, people like us who are busy, don't have time to kind of go and shop, probably look at e-commerce as being, the more convenient way to buy, or we might be driven by deals that are offered from time to time on the e-commerce platforms, right? So it's convenience and great offers in e-commerce that's really driving purchase. But if I look at the normal Indian, and I can kind of give you my own example, right? When I was young, and if I was buying anything that was expensive, my entire family used to go to shop, right? It was an occasion for the family. And I think that's something which is still true as much in the tier 1 cities as it's for tier 3, tier 4 cities. So I think India is a large country, and, there are lots of different kinds of people who are our consumer base. And I think they all behave differently. So I think as a brand, what's really important for us to do is maintain consistency in how we represent ourselves, whether it's shopping in a store or if it's shopping on an e-commerce platform. I think our responsibility as a brand is to ensure that we're able to kind of really tell consumers about how our products help make their lives better, right? As long as we're able to do that on both platforms, I think we're sorted. So I wouldn't worry so much about, and here's the thing, right? And again, I say this, I don't say this in jest. I think if you look at the people who are running offline channels, they are the entrepreneurial heart of India. When we look at the offline channel, what it represents is the heart of entrepreneurial India. People who are running these stores are second, third generation entrepreneurs. The reason they're successful is because they're innovative, they believe in relationships, they believe in evolving very quickly, because like 20 years back, they were probably into another business, right? But they very quickly evolved into kind of being partners for smartphone brands. And I think there's a tenacity to this channel that we should not underestimate. So I think if you combine this and you marry this with the behavior of how a large majority of Indians continue wanting to shop, I think there's a reason why this channel will continue holding importance and continue kind of being something which is crucial for any brand that wants to win in the country.
Your least priced product is priced at around rupees 9,000. I don't know the exact pricing, but I think it is rupees 9,000 or something. So when do you intend to get into sub 9,000 rupees phone in order to cater to the masses, especially in tier 2 and tier 3 cities? Because as we all know, there's a broadband boom in even tier 2 and tier 3 cities, thanks to COVID and thanks to Jio. So in order to leverage on that, and in order to cater to people who cannot afford these phones, so any sort of strategy we can expect from your end? If yes, would you like to break that development here?
Sure, Abhishek. So the development I'll break for you is I'll give you the philosophy of how we make our products, right? Okay. So what goes into creating a product from Oppo is essentially us listening to our North Star. Our North Star is we believe in technology for mankind, kindness to the world, right? That's what kind of really is at the core of how we develop our product. And like I said earlier, we spend close to $7 billion globally on R&D, right? The reason we spend this money in R&D is because we want to make sure that when path-breaking technologies come, they aren't necessarily only restricted to people who can kind of spend big money, right? So at the heart of the product development story at Oppo is the desire to make sure that people, irrespective of their income levels, irrespective of their economic backgrounds, have access to great technology, right? And so this philosophy kind of finds its utterance in the Find series, in the Reno series, in the F series, and I think the point you were making around the 9,000 rupee product is the A series. So, at its heart, at the heart of the way we develop products is this desire to make sure that the products that we make, of course, are built to a certain level of quality, and they are differentiated from competition in that they add value to consumers who use our products, right? And so we hold ourselves to very, very high standards from this perspective. So to answer your question on when will we have a sub 9,000 rupee product, it will be when we're able to kind of answer to this high expectation of making sure that we're actually making a genuine difference in the product that we're launching in that category. So when will we launch a cheaper device? When we can make a truly capable, great device for that price band. It's not just simply about saying, I want to kind of create a product that's going to get into that 6,500 rupees segment, and it's going to be something which is run of the mill. I think if we can launch a great product, a capable product in that product segment, we most certainly will. At this point, we don't believe we can kind of hold our high standards as Oppo and deliver a product in that price segment.
Okay. So you're not ruling out that possibility, right?
Well, that's what innovation is about, right? That's the journey we're all on. I think what I was trying to tell you is we don't necessarily start by saying we want to make a product for 6,500 rupees or 7,000 rupees. That's not the starting point of how we create product. Our product creation cycle starts from what is it that we want to solve for, right? What's the consumer issue or what's the consumer benefit that we can address with the product? And so that's the starting point. You don't start by saying, I want to create a 5,000 rupee phone, because you then go down a very different route. At Oppo, like I said, our North Star is very different. We're not driven by this desire to kind of accumulate market share on the back of cheap devices. Our philosophy is we want to kind of create meaningful product that genuinely uplift the lives of consumers who use our products. So that's the philosophy that we at Oppo follow. And in the future, if there's something that we can kind of create for that segment, we most certainly will. It'd be silly for us not to kind of leverage and kind of participate in a segment that's kind of that scale, right? So,
okay. Apart from Oppo, we also have Vivo, which is in a way your sister entity because you both have the same parent company. So is there any sort of cannibalization among your brands, or you think that it's okay to outsell each other and create your own identity also? Or is also second part of my question is there a joint product development going on between Oppo and Vivo globally to develop products for India?
Well, Oppo and Vivo are different companies. We have no relationship with each other with regard to strategy, product creation, research. Both the brands kind of operate independently, and we kind of have our own philosophy on how we kind of create products and how we market them.
Many of your competitors are getting into tablets. How keen are you in segment diversification by getting into tablets, by getting into laptops or other categories?
So I can. Great question. So I think what the way Oppo looks at launching product categories is essentially we think about what is the disruptive value proposition that we're going to bring to the table, right? Are we offering best-in-class features, hardware, software across the price bands that we want to kind of get into, or are we kind of going to be a run-of-the-mill product? So if we kind of look at that as being the North Star of what's dictating and driving our product development, currently the product segments that we kind of really invested in and are developing and launching products in is smartphones and IoT products, right? When I talk about, and I haven't spoken to you about our IoT product portfolio, but we basically are launching products in the audio and smartphone segment. And further to this, we will continue to expand our IoT portfolio. And we've recently released our IoT vision called Smart Life in India, with a focus on products that integrate cutting edge technology and design aesthetics. So that's really our area of focus, which we continue to kind of stand behind.
Okay, fine. So what you're saying is, I mean, you're not really interested in tablets or for that matter, phablets, because those are not, volume driven segment. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is our primary interest and efforts are in the smartphone and the IoT categories.
Okay, fine. Okay, so no product diversification, at least in this calendar year, for sure.
Yes.
Being a Chinese brand, is it a challenge, especially to market it in a country like India?
Yeah. So Avishek, I think the simplest way to look at this is Oppo is a global tech brand, right? We do business in over 40 countries across the world, right? Our products are not kind of sold only in China or in India. They're sold in 40 markets, right? When it comes to how consumers have reacted to us, and I think there are geopolitical issues that are at work, that those are beyond our control. I think what we can kind of speak to is how have consumers responded to our product launches. And I am not going to repeat some of the successful stories we've had around the Reno, the F series, and our IoT product portfolio. But really, I think the simplest way as a brand to think about this is how have consumers responded. And I think consumers have voted with their wallets, right? Consumers have said, we believe you guys give us great products. We believe you guys are capable of making sure that through the product's life cycle, you will continue making sure that I have no issues. They have kind of voted with their wallets and trusted our products. That's the simplest way for us to kind of think about this, because there are lots of ways in which you can kind of narrate this geopolitical issue. I think the simple truth of the matter is consumers have shown a deep love and trust for Oppo products. And we've grown in a very challenging year for the smartphone business. We've actually grown. So there's a lot for us as a team and as a company to be proud of. And we're extremely grateful for the trust that our consumers in India put into us. So
what would be the growth drivers for smartphone boom for this calendar year and the next calendar year? What are your thoughts?
I think the simple answer to that is 5G. Right, okay. 5G is. I was actually in channel a couple of weeks back during the launch of our F19 series, and one of the big drivers of the success of the F19 Pro Plus has actually been the fact that consumers are actively asking for 5G devices. So that's a big shift, and it's happened in a matter of months. Right. I mean, 6-7 months back, I don't think people had their heads around or had wrapped their heads around the notion of 5G. But it's become a very active selling proposition. It's a feature that consumers are looking out for. So I think the big driver of sales really is going to be 5G.
5G technology.
Yes.
Okay. What is the roadmap that you have laid ahead for Oppo India in terms of expansion, in terms of getting into new categories like the one to taking on OnePlus, or in terms of creating jobs, or in terms of generating revenue? Can you spell out your vision and mission with us?
Sure. So from a product perspective, in the smartphone category, we've had successful launches for the Reno and the F series in the first part of this year. And that's a cadence that will continue in the back half from a launch perspective. Those are the product portfolio that we're really looking at building in a strong way that we'll continue investing behind. And that basically is us emerging as a very strong player in the mid-price segment of smartphones. That's where the Reno plays. With the F series, again, we believe this is going to be a segment that grows very, very fast as people kind of move from the lower end smartphone devices to true smartphone 5G devices, 5G capable devices. So we believe a lot of our growth this year is going to come on the back of the Reno and the F series. Those are our big bets from a smartphone standpoint. From a channel strategy perspective, like I said to you, we continue standing behind our offline trade. We continue standing behind our physical bricks and mortar business. But we have a great opportunity to kind of grow in e-commerce. So that's really where we're headed from a channel standpoint. Our investments and belief in India is underlined by our investments around our manufacturing facility in Greater Noida. So that's again something that we'll continue kind of really ramping up. From an innovation and an R&D perspective, our lab in Hyderabad is going to continue working on really introducing new innovations that make sense for consumers in India. We are the leaders from a 5G perspective in figuring out how we can kind of have more use cases, how can we kind of have seamless integration of 5G tech into our products in India. So from a tech and an innovation standpoint, that's really kind of the driving force. And again, IoT products is our area of focus as well, and that's really in the area of audio products and smart bands and smart watches. So to kind of give you a 2-minute summary, that's what we're really focusing on as a team.
Okay. So no plans to get into premium segment. And what about revenues that you're intending to clock in the next few years?
I can't speak to revenue, quite frankly, but as far as the premium segment's concerned, we're really focusing. I'm talking about where we're focusing our energies, right? And our energies are really behind the Reno and the F series from a smart. That's really this opportunity at scale for us.
Thank you, Mr. Singh, for talking to BW Businessworld. It was an honor interacting with you. We wish you all the best in your vision and your mission.
Thanks, Avishek. Thanks a lot.